Welcome to Review Rewind, the show where a couple of friends watch movies of old and aim to figure out if the reviewers were spot on or a little off. I'm Mike.
And I'm Tristan.
And this week, we're talking about The Shinning.
Nothing like getting shinned.
It's a Simpsons reference, but... how you doing? Other than just enraged with technology.
Yeah.
How are you otherwise?
I'm slightly enraged about other things that we don't need to talk about.
Dope. Cool.
Yeah. There's I don't know, just working, doing okay.
Working 9 to 5. I don't know if you work 9 to 5.
No, working from like 10 to 11. Trying that 1 hour work week.
I was going to say that's either 1 hour or 13 hours. I can't tell.
No. I don't know. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm just recovering from all the stuff. And so now that it gets cold, well, not now, it's been this way since winter started, but when it gets cold at night, my cough comes back in full force, and we record these at night.
Yeah.
Because that's when life doesn't happen, apparently, because we're old. Anyway, this film was directed by Stanley Kubrick, produced by Robert Fryer and Stanley Kubrick, screenwriter Stephen King, who wrote the book, Stanley Kubrick and Diane Johnson, distributed by Warner Brothers. Production companies were Producer Circle, Warner Brothers, and Peregrine. Hawk Films. Rating R. Genre horror, mystery, and thriller. Original language American English. Release date May 23rd, 1980. Starring Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, Scatman Crothers, and Danny Lloyd. Which that's so easy for Danny in the movie because he's a kid and all he has to remember is his own name.
Yeah. And Jack gets to go by Jack.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why they didn't call her Shelley.
No. Winifred. And nickname Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing. Budget, $19 million. Grossed in the U.S., $45 million, almost 46. And worldwide made almost $48 million. So at the time, very successful. And that's all I really got as far as details go. And now we painfully transition into a segment we like to call Recap Rewind. We're art professionals here, where we rewind and give you, the audience, a recap of what happened in this movie. Tristan, are you ready to tell a spooky story?
Spooky. Winifred Wendy Torrance, played by Shelley Duvall, is a troubled woman. Troubled by being married to an abusive husband and being the parent to a child who is either possessed or has some sort of disorder. Jack Torrance, Jack Nicholson, is a troubled man and an abusive father and husband. But he just wants to be a writer. Danny Torrance, played by Danny Lloyd, is a troubled kid who hears voices, sees vision, and has a really creepy voice when he gives a voice to his imaginary friend, Tony. Now, imaginary is a quote unquote, is he imaginary? Is he a demon? We don't really know.
It was the late 70s.
All of All of them star in The Shining, a movie adapted from a book written by a troubled author, Stephen King, and directed by an abusive director, Stanley Kubrick. If you qualify forcing a 69-year-old man to retake a scene so many times he breaks down and cries, or creating a stressful situation, a working situation that leads your lead actress to start losing her hair and becoming physically ill, abusive.
Yeah.
Don't worry about Danny, the little kid who talks to his finger and spends a third of the movie saying red rum in a creepy voice. He wasn't made aware that the movie was a horror movie, and he thought he was in a drama. Yep, apparently Kubrick does have a heart and kept little old Danny in the dark for 11 years when he finally saw the full, uncut version of the movie. Anyway, to make some money and spend time away to focus on his writing, Jack takes a job as the caretaker for the Overlook Hotel during the winter season. He brings his family to live in the hotel for 5 months, completely cut off from the outside world, with the biggest snowstorm in a decade coming their way. Before taking the job, Jack is warned that 10 years earlier, another man was brought on as a caretaker and ended up succumbing to cabin fever and murdered his wife, daughters, and himself. Upon the Torrance family's arrival, they're given a tour around the hotel, and Danny is met by the head chef, Mr. Halloran. Halloran? Scatman Crothers. Halloran tells Danny that they share a secret power that allows them to communicate without speaking. This power is called shinning, and only a few people in the world have it. He warns Danny to stay away from room 237. A month passes and Jack begins to feel the effects this place has on him, becoming more irritable by the day. Danny keeps saying twin girls appear in the hotel halls, and Wendy is doing Jack's job, keeping the place running, all while Jack writes. Over the following week, Danny finds himself being drawn to the room he was warned to stay away from. One day, while riding his big wheel around the halls, the room is unlocked, and he peers in. Meanwhile, Wendy is startled by the sound of Jack screaming. She rushes to him and finds him sleeping at his desk. She wakes him, and he tells her he had a horrible nightmare where he murdered Danny and her. Danny enters the room silently, and as Wendy approaches him, she can see bruising around his neck and blames Jack, who, one time 3 years ago, after coming home drunk, dislocated Danny's arm, but has since then given up drinking, promising never to do it again. Jack wanders off into the ballroom where there's an empty bar, and he wishes to have a drink, saying that he'd even sell his soul for a beer. Suddenly, a barkeeper is there, and Jack converses with him. Wendy runs into what is actually an empty room and tells Jack there's someone else in the hotel with them, and that Danny went into room 237, found a woman who tried to strangle him. Jack goes to investigate and finds a young woman bathing. She gets out of the bath, and Jack embraces her with a kiss, only for her to then change into an old woman covered in sores and decay, and she begins to laugh, and Jack freaks out, running away, locking the door behind him. During all of this, Halloran senses Danny's stress and feels something bad is happening. He calls the Forest Service, and when they have no luck reaching the hotel over the radio, he gets on a plane and flies back toward Colorado. When Jack returns to the family room, he tells Wendy there was no one in the room. Wendy suggests they leave, and Jack explodes in anger and storms out of the room, back to the ballroom. But this time, it's full of patrons, looking like they're from the 1920s. One of the waitstaff spills a drink on him, and they go to the bathroom or to the washroom to clean up. In the washroom, Jack learns that the man's name is Grady. That's the same name of the old caretaker who killed his family. Grady tells Jack that Jack has been the caretaker the whole time, and that it's his responsibility to correct the issues his wife and son are causing. The next day, Wendy goes to check on Jack. And you know what? Real quick, we should address the issue with Grady. Other than being a murderer, he's racist. And that's
very racist.
Extremely racist. Unexpected racism in this movie.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
Anyway.
The next day, Wendy goes to check on Jack and to tell him she wants to leave. She enters the room where he has been writing. Jack is not there, but there is a pile of his written pages. And it's quite unsettling because every page has "all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy" written over and over and over on every single page. Jack lurks out of the shadows and becomes more aggressive toward Wendy, leading Wendy to hit him over the head with a baseball bat. She drags him into the food storage and locks him in. And as she's leaving, Jack tells her that she's in for a surprise when she finds what he's done to the radio and the snow vehicle. She discovers that he has sabotaged these things.
That dastard.
She locks herself in her room with Danny, who, in his creepy Tony voice, warns her that something bad is about to happen. Jack was let out of storage by Grady and begins chopping the bedroom door down with an axe. Wendy takes Danny into the bathroom and is able to help him escape out the small window, but it's too small for her. And just as Jack breaks through the door and is about to get to her, they hear the sound of a vehicle approaching. It's Halloran, who enters the building only to get surprise axe murdered by Jack. Jack chases Danny out into the garden maze, and Wendy wanders the hotel to find Danny, only to find some very disturbing imagery in the rooms that she passes. Danny outwits Jack in the maze and backtracks his way out. Mother and son are reunited. They get into the vehicle that Halloran arrived in, and Jack freezes to death in the maze. But wait, there's a photo in the hotel from 1920, and Jack is in it? What could it mean? Whatever. Dude's a popsicle, and Shelley Duvall went on to play the role she was born to play, Olive Oyl in Popeye, which was released in the same year.
Oh, yeah. You weren't expecting that one, were you?
I wasn't.
Oh man, yeah, a lot of points, a lot of good points. Alrighty. So before we talk about what we felt about the movie, let us take a moment and discuss. One, want to talk about the pronunciation, and I believe this is the only correct way.
No, go easy on the wee one. His father's gonna go crazy and chop them all into haggis.
What's haggis?
Boy, you read my thoughts. You've got the shinning.
You mean shining?
Shh, you wanna get sued?
Perfect. It's just, it's beautiful. It's a work of art. Anyway, so first, we believe, okay, not we. We can agree. Can we agree that Danny does have like a telepathy of some type? He is a telepath.
Danny's got something.
Yes.
He might have multiple somethings.
Well, no, I disagree with that. I think Tony is Danny, but the fear of the power leads him to create a character that his power speaks through the character. But I think that's still Danny.
It's still him, coping with the...
Yes, I think it's a coping mechanism. I don't think he has multiple personalities.
No, I think that makes sense. It's his... Well, sometimes those personalities can come out of coping mechanisms, I think. I'm no psychiatrist.
That would have to be a Dr. Sleep. We would have to watch that to know what the answer is. But from what we can see in this film...
He has some form of telepathy. There's an actual power happening.
Yes. And to cope with it, he has created this character, Tony, who lives in his mouth and says things, but I actually just think it's he's hearing the voices that he is connected to telepathically, and he has some type of premonition, and it sounds like what did they give Scatman? What was his first name?
Halloran? Oh, I don't remember what his first name was.
Halloran made reference to almost as though he could see the past as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so now here's my question. And this is the curious one, because this one is definitely a conspiracy theory, just kind of out of right field. Is the hotel solely haunted, or is it that the hotel is haunted and both Wendy and Jack also have, in some way, shape, or form, the shining?
Yeah, that is the part that is so unclear.
Right? Because
as a progressive, because it starts where you're thinking, like it suggests that only he has it,
right?
That only Danny has it,
right?
And because he's the only one seeing the visions, he's the only one seeing the things. But then Jack starts to see things and hear things, and experience things.
And then at first you could have made the leap through for at least the first hour 40, maybe even 2 hours, that all of this is just Jack's madness.
Yeah.
But then Jack also sees the same thing that Danny sees, the woman.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume that woman tried to do this, didn't seduce Danny, but brought him in and then attacked him.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wendy eventually starts seeing her own visions of hauntedness, and then she sees what Danny sees, because she sees the blood in the elevator.
No, she sees the elevator, yeah.
So that's the only thing, because you could have said the room was just her own version of hallucination.
Mm-hmm.
But she sees that, and then she sees the party goer with the cracked skull who had the blood, and he's quite the party, or whatever the hell he said.
Mm-hmm.
I gave that man no respect. And then she sees the elevator. So I think there is an argument to say that the hotel is in fact haunted.
Mm-hmm.
There is some bad spiritual stuff going on in this place.
There's something physically happening in the hotel, because the door to the room had the key and was unlocked.
Right. Grady opened
Grady,
the storage.
Grady opens the storage, the cool storage. So there are things that are physically happening and changing in the hotel that are not happening
by the hands of three human beings in the building.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we can say, yes, it's haunted.
They did a good job. I will have to say they did a good job of planting the seed of the news saying a girl was lost in after hiking in the snowstorm, blah, 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 blah. And then when you hear there's somebody else in the hotel and you see a young woman, you're like, oh, is she the one who was somehow got into the hotel? Maybe you didn't have that train of thought, but that's the thought that I had of oh, is this that woman? And then she turns into the.
That's so good. I did not have that, but that makes perfect sense. That is so good. oh, Tristan, my friend, that is so good.
I think that's
perfect.
why she appears as a young woman first, and then turns into the Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga. I don't know if that's why she appears. So here's what I would say for that. In
story, I don't think that's why she appears that way. From a movie telling,
right, that could have been it.
Yeah,
because I think within the scope of it, clearly they have like a loveless marriage.
Mm-hmm.
He's going crazy. He just has no feelings for her whatsoever. And then this attractive naked woman who appears to be calling to him in some way, shape, or form, he just kind of like goes for it. And I think that they the ghosts just kind of like fed off of his weakness and, you know, just, I don't know, gambled and won that he would be enticed by that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, okay. We have all that. Now we're going to kind of we're going to transition a little bit into not exactly how we felt about the movie, but just kind of overall aspects of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And one, Jack, I just never seems like a great guy. He interviews well, but even on the car ride to the Outlook, he seems perpetually annoyed at both of them. And I know it's like a 3-hour drive, but
yeah.
when he talks about the cannibals and then he says like, see, it's okay. He saw it on TV. It's like, are you saying he watches too much TV? Are you commenting on television? You don't like this child so far.
Pretty much the entirety of the film, he sounds sarcastic in everything that he's like towards
his family.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like when she comes in and she's like, oh, I really am loving it here. It's really growing on me. And when we first got here, I was scared, but now I really am enjoying it. And he's like, yeah, it's the best place ever. Like he just has this, I mean, that was not a good impression of it, but he just has this like way of saying it where it's like, I feel like everything you're saying is not true. And I couldn't tell if that was a purposeful choice of how he is talking to his family, or if it was just a weird Jack Nicholson,
right,
like way of doing it. It felt weird.
I think Jack's motivation for it, and I think his issue is that he was teaching, he didn't quite like it, he wanted to be a writer. And it sounds like they moved in hopes to pursue that, but upon his own failures, I guess you could say, he hasn't been able to accomplish it. And so I think he thought this little getaway would be the answer to his issues.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's immediately obvious that it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And we can just nail that down with the simple game of wall ball.
Right.
So there's a scene where Jack is supposed to be writing, and he's just throwing a tennis ball at a wall as hard as he can.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things, like, I know as a creative, the writing process is very difficult, but I think it was to show that the writing process is very difficult for him.
Mm-hmm.
And like he stays up like super late.
Yeah. He's prioritizing writing, but then he's not writing over his family.
Right. And his family are literally the only other people there.
Mm-hmm.
But he is actively avoiding them.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, eventually taking out his frustrations on them.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of talked about Danny. Wendy is a very broken person. the poor thing.
Yeah.
She is trying to raise a son in this marriage where she doesn't really trust her husband.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of has a good point. But it's also the late 70s. And I don't know what opportunities there were for divorcees,
Mm-hmm.
single mothers in those situations. But wow, just felt bad for her like the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
What did you feel about the movie overall?
So this was my first time watching it.
Oh, okay.
I'd never seen it before. Not really what I expected. I knew that just because it is a movie that is well known. I knew that Jack goes crazy and
Right.
goes hunting, but I didn't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't know exactly what got there. I knew there was the twins in the hallway.
Right.
I'd seen the blood in the elevator. Like I've seen all of the iconic clips before, but I've never known the story that is actually happening.
I might be wrong, but I feel like, no, I think I'm wrong. I think it was a different elevator scene, but I almost feel like the blood elevator scene was in the Muppet Babies. Did you ever watch the 80s Muppet Babies?
It's been a long time.
But so in the 80s Muppet Babies, the kids would have their imagination. They would do these adventures, but oftentimes they would cut in actual scenes from movies.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them you were like, how'd you guys do that? Like, what? That's what you chose? I know they did Indiana Jones. They did Ghostbusters. But I could have sworn there was an elevator of some type. Maybe I'm just remembering wrong.
Well, there does appear to be a there does seem to be some form of connection. I just did a quick Google. I think there is a connection to the Muppets and The Shining, but I
don't know how I feel about that.
I don't have enough time to totally figure that out.
Anyway.
So I'm not going to.
Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, there's been several medias that have made reference to that scene. So yeah, this was my first experience, and it is a weird movie.
It is very weird.
And just when you feel like you are getting a sense of what's happening, it's like, no, that's not what's happening.
And I think that's on purpose.
Yeah, I think it is like Stanley Kubrick, and I don't know about how it compares to the actual book,
right?
But the movie is done in a way.
It is a bit different
to constantly unsettle you.
Yeah.
And when you've been unsettled by a certain thing enough, they switch it and add something else that is unsettling for a different reason. Right. And it just adds to the whole.
Yeah. I was talking to someone earlier today about this. I was talking to Ruben, past guest on the show. Yeah. But he was the one who, like, introduced me to Stanley Kubrick when we were teenagers. I saw this when I was 16 or 17, and I don't think I understood it then. But this time around, I was pleasantly surprised by how much I did enjoy aspects of it, because I was not aware, but I guess I was ready to try to examine and analyze the film as it was occurring. And as it was occurring, there were several things that stood out. One, the music. The music is so intense.
Yeah.
I think the music for 90% of the movie, 90% of the movie, the music is what causes the horror movie tension.
Oh, totally.
Because nothing happens. In the first hour 20 or so, nothing incredibly scary happens. Yeah, Danny has some visions of what's to come, but there's nothing too horror movie-esque. But the music just is a constant state of making you feel as though something is about to happen. And what's interesting, if you notice, is that as the movie continues and as more horror is introduced into it, visual horror, the music actually becomes less. A lot of the time when Jack is like chasing Danny, the emphasis is on the sounds of the pitter patter going on. And I thought that was really I thought that was such an interesting take on, just kind of the ideas of horror and the genre. Even though like horror had been around for decades already, but the 70s really turned it around with like the slasher flick. Slasher, I had a stroke. Slasher flick. And that really propelled horror into like one certain direction.
Yeah.
And this one almost takes like a silent movie perspective on horror, where the intensity is built by the music and the tension is on the slow pacing of the physical stuff that's happening. There's really only, personally, I would say, one major jump scare. Otherwise, this movie doesn't really have too many jump scares.
No.
So it doesn't use that as a tool for making you uneasy or scaring you, you know?
There was one where like the music is like intensifying and then it like hits a high point and it like just cuts and the screen goes black and has the text, "This is Tuesday," or whatever. And I was like, I bet you somebody in the theater like went,
yeah.
when that happened.
It was like a faux jump scare.
Yeah.
Because the music's like, shit's going down. Shit's going Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I did have that moment where I was like, oh.
Yeah. I apologize for what I'm about to say. This movie is basically the horror version of Edging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the whole time.
I don't know the whole philosophy behind it, but like there is a climax.
Yes.
But yeah, it does feel like that. And as I was talking to Ruben, I wonder how much of that is the intentionality of trying to build that tension or a product of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's in the review, this movie took almost 5 years to make.
Mm.
And so, the production side of it had to have started in 1975 or so.
Yeah.
So you're going through the mid to late 80s, mid to late 70s, and that was just a different generation of filmmaking.
Yeah.
Where I think the best example of it is, I think, the scene where Danny wakes up and Tony is saying red rum.
Mm-hmm.
I think the idea is that scene is supposed to be building tension and causing that kind of what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of doesn't feel that way. It kind of just feels very slow paced and very tedious.
Mm.
Because you're following a kid and the kids move weird when they act.
Yeah.
Yeah. That scene was the one scene where it was, I think Danny did a wonderful job. I don't actually know how old he was at the point of filming. But I thought he did a great job. But that scene was the scene where it felt like, oh yeah, this is a kid actor.
Mm-hmm.
There are scenes where they really focus on Jack for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But he is such a good actor that you're just kind of involved in it and just like, yeah,
mm-hmm.
give me more. Whatever it is, just give me more. This scene was very much, all right. We found some lipstick. Okay. All right. Now he's going to open the lipstick. Okay. Now he's going to write red rum. Oh, he had a moment there where he kind of forgot how to spell red rum. All right. Okay, cool. Now he's going to awkwardly grab the knife and yell at Shelley Duvall. And there then. Now, okay. That was 4 minutes long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that was a product of the time, I think. I'm sure there was a intentionality behind it, but I think if you were to use the same film, but just were editing today,
mm-hmm.
that would have cut up. That would have been cut up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there were a few scenes where I felt like maybe it doesn't need to linger as long as it is, but I do think there was, the guy wants to do 40 plus retakes of the same shot to make sure that it's perfect. Like there is intentionality to the way that it's done. So I do feel like the building of that that tense feeling that you have as it's going along, like I think that is super intentional to like build the intensity and then come back down and then build up that intensity, so you're just like you're never fully relaxed while you're watching the movie, but you're not at a constant state of being scared as well. Like it balances that pretty well. But yeah, there were a couple of scenes that on one hand, there were the scenes that were like, this is impressive that the shot has lasted as long as it has.
Right.
And it's very well done. And then there's some shots where it's like, okay, we could have cut that one up a little bit, made it happen faster. but yeah, the way that the music helps build that, the way that the shots linger, some of it because of the time, some of it because of very intentional, let's have just a long hallway shot.
Yeah.
I thought they did a really good job with the following stuff. I don't know what kind of rigs they had back then.
Yeah.
But
There
the
is
fact that
there is some behind the scenes
Mhm.
video that actually shows some of the rigging. And
Yeah.
it's I think it's still similar to maybe today, just a little more archaic in how it's built, but
Mhm.
they definitely had rigs that they were doing,
Yeah.
and to build it all up. But to add on to that, the cinematography in this movie is awesome.
Yeah.
It is
It's
visually
it's really
a
well
really
done.
cool movie. From the angles, the way that scenes are set up, the what's the what's the industry term for the establishing shots. I figured it
Yeah.
out on my own. The establishing shots are great.
Mhm.
The helicopter filming the road and the
Mhm.
water, and gorgeous. All of it is gorgeous. It lets you it brings you into the moment where you really see how far he has to drive and how remote the location is.
Mhm.
They do an excellent job doing that.
Yeah. There were a few things that I was like, this movie somehow feels like really well done, and also like maybe a college student
Ooh,
project.
do you have
Uh,
an example of
it,
that?
I mean, that opening credit scene, while it's like really cool, like you said, seeing the car from the camera going down the road and everything, and then you have the credits roll up
Right.
in just a like boring blue text. And it's just like Jack
Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa,
Nicholson,
whoa, 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 whoa,
Shelley
whoa,
Duvall,
whoa, whoa, whoa,
The
whoa, buddy. Hey,
Shining.
hey, 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 hey. Back then, that would have been real cool.
I don't I don't think
This is
it
also
would've
2 years after Star Wars, so I don't. They had the whole big,
yeah.
uh,
It
the
was
role.
I don't know. There was just a few things like that one immediately. I was just like, this is
Can I,
really
can I, can I rebuttal that a little bit? Also
go for it.
agree with you. I'm agreeing with you.
Hmm.
Uh, they have this beautiful establishing shot, credits aside, whatever it is. And then they have this hokey ass interview. The interview I get, but the whole time I'm going, what are we doing here? What is
Yeah.
this? Like, what is this establishing for the movie? And then you get some of the like plot points that they need to get of like, well, I don't know if I should be telling you this, but I just want to warn. I don't know how you feel, but the
Hmm.
last guy who did this just murdered everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's from New York now, but murdered everyone.
Moited.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So that scene always was very funny, and then as it got, them getting the information and doing the tour of the thing, I understand why it's there, but there's also aspects where it's like, you could have done this differently, maybe. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. Who am I? Who am I? But you have to establish that Danny's not the only one with the shining.
Yeah.
You have to establish how big this freaking hotel is.
Right.
That's one of the jobs of that little tour, is to show like it takes them a whole afternoon to get through everything they need to get through. But they're just little aspects. And then then it feels like the movie. Whoa, I gotta call.
Oh, man.
Then it feels like the movie actually starts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of narrative building to then start the movie and go like, all right, we understand. We said the rules. Do we understand? Okay, everyone's on board. All right, play ball. You know?
Yeah. The chapter markers also kind of threw me off a little bit because it starts off and it says the interview, and you're like, okay, so we're doing it like a chapter. That's great. The next one is closing day. All right. We have the timeline from the interview without giving us a specific timeline. We kind of know what's going on here.
Right.
And then 1 month.
Right. And then am I correct in they went 1 month, whatever, 2 months, and then they were like November.
No, not even. They went 1 month, Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what does Tuesday mean in comparison to 1 month? Are we talking about the next Tuesday?
I think I wonder if that's an aspect of the book.
Maybe the chapters are named after the days.
Because the only other thing I would think of too, or rather the only thing I would change about that is if the director of the Outlook was like, all right, you have we're finished here after today. You will have 256 days until we return, or 140, however many it would have been, 175 days. Yeah. And then as they're going through, you could just be like, day 56, day 72, to the point where because those were helpful, and then pretty quickly, not quickly as far as time, but quickly as far as how often they were used, because it was like an hour or two. It was like an hour and 20 minutes into it. I stopped understanding how much time had passed.
Yeah. So that's a weird thing, because they do use those to tell us. My interpretation of it is a month after they started, and then basically the next week after that month. So it's only been a month and 1 week since they've started doing this job, and things start going down
when tension is occurring.
But it's weird that it establishes those as this is how we're telling you how time is progressing, how we're marking different parts of the story, and they're happening pretty quickly, and then all of a sudden it stops for a really long time.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of story, and then it says Saturday.
I don't know how much time has passed. I don't fully get it. And then
and maybe that's the point. Maybe it's supposed to give us that feeling of when you're here alone,
time
snowed
is
in,
not a reality.
Who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
And then Halloran is in like Miami or something.
That part of the movie, that I think that's around the middle of the movie. It just threw me for so many loops.
Yeah.
Because he's in Miami and he's got some very racy pictures up on his walls.
He is appreciating the body of African American women.
It's fine. It's just out of nowhere. These pictures that are like,
is it racist?
Focused on.
Is it racist?
I don't know. It felt weird.
Okay.
And not just because there was unexpected.
I feel like this is a good pivot point for this. So there have been some analyses done about this movie to try to interpret the message behind this movie. a lot of and I have read the articles and different things about it, but I'm just using this as a reference because it's right there. You can go on Wikipedia, and all those people who are like, Wikipedia is not a good resource. And it's like, true, if you don't check the links. All of these things have references, and then you can actually get the whole of the reference. So Jonathan Romney writes that the film has been interpreted in many ways, including addressing the topics of the crisis of masculinity, sexism, corporate America, and racism. It's tempting to read The Shining as an Oedipal struggle, not just between generations, but between Jack's culture of the written word and Danny's culture of images, which that is a great connection. One of the, like, right off the bat, Jack is thoroughly annoyed that Danny watches TV, and Jack sees writing and the written word as a higher form, but the problem is that he himself cannot connect to it, and thus begins his struggle. That's my own addition to that. That's not what's written. Romney writes, Jack also uses the written word to more mundane purposes. To sign his contract with the Overlook, I gave my word, which we take to mean gave his soul in the Faustian sense. But maybe he means it more literally. By the end, he has renounced language entirely, pursuing Danny through the maze with an inarticulate animal roar. What he has entered into is a conventional business deal that places commercial obligation over the unspoken contract of compassion and empathy that he seems to have neglected to sign with his family. That is a great analysis, because if you kind of break down everything that goes on, because I thought it was super weird. So Grady spills the whatever on Jack.
The avocado.
Yeah, what is that? Do you know what that is? I don't know what that is. Like avocado?
Is it just avocado? I have no idea.
I'm not fancy, so I don't know.
Or from the 1920s.
Or from the 1920s. And so they go into the bathroom, and Jack's inability. Let me try to grab this thought. One of the things that Jack struggles with is this idea of, like, there is that idea of masculinity. He is the man. Wendy is the woman. There is a place. He, finds more value in himself as the man, all that good stuff. He has no backbone. He has no spine. And I say that simply because Grady reveals him, like, he figures it out. He figures out this man is the guy who killed all his family.
Right.
And then Grady goes like, no, that's not me. You've always been the guy. And then he starts to plant these things of, like, your kid's not that great, strong-willed, not that great. And I had to take care of my kids. I had to, what was it? You mentioned it in, how does he put it? You have to fix them? Was that what it was?
Oh, I did. Where was it? He has to
Vamp.
It's responsible for correcting. Yeah.
So their independence is an unalignment with his values. Thus, they must be corrected. And he becomes real game to that real quick. real quick. And then he gets cracked in the head, has to have a major concussion. One of the things that, as I was watching this movie, and like he broke his ankle, and then he's murmuring, and like you can say he didn't have, what was it? He renounced language entirely, and I was like, he did have a major concussion with no medical attention.
Yeah.
He might just be coming to terms with the fact that his brain is broken now.
Mm-hmm.
But he's locked up, and then the ghosts are like, we're disappointed in you. Seems like you don't have the guts to kill your family. And then he's just like begging for, he's like, give me one more chance. Give me one more chance.
No, I'll do it. I promise.
And that part was crazy. I'm trying to understand it because I'm just like so quickly willing to like abandon his family and kill them for the sake of, I guess, this momentary thing of joy of the party of whoever it is. Even though he knows for a fact this guy killed his family, and he's like, that's crazy. This guy's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, another interpretation is that among interpreters who see the film reflecting more subtly the social concerns of that animate other Kubrick films, one of the early viewpoints was discussed in an essay by ABC reporter Bill Blankmore titled Kubrick's Shining Secret. The film's hidden horror is the murder of the Indian. First published in the Washington Post in 1987, he believes the indirect reference to Americans killing Native Americans pervade the film as exemplified by the Ameri-Indian logos on the baking powder. I didn't see that necessarily. In the kitchen, and the artwork that appears throughout the hotel, though no Native Americans are seen. Stuart Ullman tells Wendy that the building was built on an Indian burial ground and was attacked while it was being constructed. And then he goes, I'm just going to kind of, he goes on to say at the end of the movie, the photo reference marks the 4th of July ball. And it's saying like, this isn't just a random date, but the fact that the 4th of July is seen as like this day of independence, but in reality, it was the beginning of the end for the Native Americans. I feel like there's a lot of reading into it, but there's also so many little references throughout the movie that I personally, admittedly, don't fully grasp what they're aiming to do. For instance, when he is talking to the bartender, and the bartender, I forget if it's the first interaction or the second interaction, but offers him the bourbon or whatever, and then Jack responds with the white man's burden. And it was like, what are we doing here, pal? What exactly are you aiming for? And then we have Grady, who, you know, refers to Halloran. That's such an odd name, Halloran, by the N-word.
Hard R.
Hard.
As hard as a British accent can get.
Which is really funny because somehow it was a harder R than Jack Nicholson saying it. But he was, because it almost sounded as though he was very confused by it. Rightfully so. Because he's just having this conversation with this British Jeezy guy. And then he throws the N-word out and he's just like,
Excuse me?
Yeah. Which that threw me off because I was just like, oh, this like blatant racism. And then Jack just being real like, he did what? Huh? A what? A who?
What now?
Yeah. So I do think there is some underlining story happening with that, or underlining message. I personally could not connect the dots.
That could be something that is from the book.
It could be.
That only partially got transferred over to the movie. And that could be why it feels like it's there, but the presence isn't fully there. Like if it's something
it does seem like a lot of aspects are referring to it being a specific thing of Kubrick. So I'd have to read the book. A couple other things, just real quick. American imperialism, which that one feels there a little bit, in that Jack believes that these things like belong to him. Not necessarily the hotel, but the experience, the peace, all of this belongs to him, and that these people are trying to take it away, not realizing that it's just his family trying to be with him as a family. And he then, by the help of these ghosts or whatever, is then trying to conquer all things throughout it. Like, I can see like a weird connection with that. Not a weird, but I mean, I can see like a light connecting point with those. But I really couldn't see the deeper message outside of, this guy took a job because he wanted to be alone so he could write, but he took his family like a friggin' idiot, and now he's going crazy and trying to kill his family, who their crime is just being a family. Because even Wendy, the thing that made me laugh was that Wendy was the one doing all the work.
Yeah.
What
He's
the heck?
spending so much time trying to write, and she's down trying to figure out which boilers to turn on.
She's doing the thing he was hired to do. Yet he's acting as though she's a burden, and it's like, what? She's doing your job, bro.
Yeah.
Get it together. And Grady's like, you have to correct her. I don't know why he had that accent.
Rolling his R's all of a sudden.
Yeah. I like when British people roll their R's. It's funny. That was so rude. Your voice is funny to me. Alrighty. Trying to kind of get this point, because this movie has a lot going on for it. So let's just kind of quickly go through. We've talked a little bit about it, but what are some aspects that you did like about this movie? We talked about some of the cinematography. Some of the tension building is superb. Like, it's fantastic. It's, for me, some of the tension building is some of the best tension building I've seen in a movie, period. I
feel like we covered a lot of the things.
I actually like the haunted aspect of the hotel. I thought it was whether it was scary or not, I actually don't think is important. It was uneasy. It really brought tension, a little bit of confusion, and kind of kept you on your feet. Like you were saying, like, you were never in a place of rest easy. You were always kind of like, okay, something's happening, I don't understand. Or
there's like less tension, or there's all tension, but you were never, and like,
even when there was
relaxed.
less tension, there was, but you got to pay attention. There's less tension, but you got to pay attention, you know? And I thought that was done really, really well. All right, let's get to it. What are some things you didn't like?
Oh, there. I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay, pacing. Some of the pacing, product of the time. I give it grace for it being the product of the time, but there were even some points where it was like, come on, you could have done better. I actually think they pushed Jack too much. I would have almost liked him to have been, the interview version of himself. That for a little while longer. Like if he were to have treated Wendy and Danny in that similar sense, and then a month in, you start to see these little pieces. I feel like that would have elevated Jack as a character. And not to say that Jack Nicholson did anything wrong in his acting or whatever. I think that is a kind of a writing move and maybe like slightly directorial. But how quickly he just seemed to dislike Danny bugged me.
Yeah. Okay. That was one of the things that I was similarly thinking about was his character. And maybe that's part of the tension that maybe the tension between the family. The point of it was that maybe he's always put on this face when he's in public, but he's actually been a jerk all along. But it did feel weird for him to suddenly switch.
Yeah.
It felt like nothing happened and all of a sudden he had switched into staring out the window.
Right.
With a creepy look on his face.
It made the scene where he first talked to the bartender and confesses to what happened, it loses some of its weight when you go back and think of how he has responded to Danny in the first place. Because if it would have been that he had a drinking problem and one night he made a mistake, if that was the crux of that development, and then he has shown progress and that he really does love this kid and would never harm him, then the weight of that is so much heavier.
Yeah.
It is hey, I did this. I fixed myself. I fixed myself for their case, for them, for him, because I love him. I fixed myself, but.
And she's still blaming me.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you could have been like, oh man, that's a really good point. That's a hard thing to struggle through. But if our first experience with you and Danny is you being put off by Danny watching TV or whatever it is, and then throughout the rest of it, you just really have no connection to him whatsoever, then
and
it's seems
so annoyed by his existence. Yeah.
Then you're a liar. You've always been a piece of shit. You're always a liar. So your development is just this self-loathing deep dive into madness. You just hate yourself, and because of that, you hate everyone else. Okay, fine. But give us something that connects that. And I don't know. For me, I didn't really have a moment that had that. And someone who could be watching and comment on whatever, enlighten me. I'll watch it again and I'll try to find that moment, but I just didn't find a moment, so that it just felt like a bad person getting more bad.
Yeah, it definitely had the feeling of, oh, this accident that we're talking about, it wasn't just things got out of hand. It's you had an alcohol problem,
right,
which took away your filter and you really are that person
Right.
at all times, but you're just really good at putting the mask on
Right.
when you need to.
It's interesting that the isolation created the same inability to control the inhibitions in the same way that alcohol does.
Mm-hmm.
Because when he drinks, he's not actually drinking, but his madness is almost creating a drunken state.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting take. That was really an interesting way to go about that.
Mm-hmm.
Still speaking about things I didn't like, not what I liked. Dang it. Yeah, Scatman Crothers. I think he was awesome. I think I thought his acting was great. The process in which he had to connect into the story felt really weird.
Yeah.
I think it also, like, it was meant to show that it took a lot of time and that the weather was really bad.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe they could have had him driving with the snowcat and been like, it's already been 15 hours.
He got there so fast.
Yeah.
Like it took a long time, but he got there so fast.
Right. Which he could have just looked at his watch and been like, it's been 15 hours. I hope I get there in time. Something like that, and skip the whole, like, hey, can you get me a car?
Yeah.
Like, that whole scene could have been skipped.
Because, like, that was a weird thing.
No one was going to see him drive a snowcat and been like, how did he get that? How did this man get his hands on a snowcat? And now we have that scene, and we're like, oh,
yeah,
he knew a guy.
He calls Forest Service and says, can you give him a call? 20 minutes later, they say, hey, we weren't able to get to it. The next thing we see is him on a plane.
Right.
The next day, he lands at the airport.
And I think he takes like a red eye.
And and then it takes 5 hours to get from where he is to the location, I think is how long they said it was going to be.
Right.
And then he's taking a very slow vehicle. So I guess he could have gotten there in a day. It just feels kind of fast.
Yeah. It should have taken like 3 days from the process, like flying over there. Even if he gets there in the morning, 5-hour drive. Oh no, 8 to 5. What is that? All right, 8 plus 5 hours is at 2 p.m. If he gets the snowcat, if it's down right by the bottom of the Sidewinder, and it takes 3 hours to drive, probably in the snowcat, it's going to take another 3 hours. So 6 hours. So he gets there by like 8 o'clock. If all things go according to plan.
Yeah. Well, whatever, man. He got there.
Whatever.
Just to get murdered.
Man, that did get me. That got me. That jump scare got me.
Did it?
It got me. Because
I think I was expecting it too much, that I was like, he's going to get killed right now.
yeah, but there was, because it showed him behind him. So the fact that he was able to get in front of him with, mind you, a sprained ankle, I wasn't expecting it. Even though I've seen the movie before, I just wasn't. So when he started yelling, I was like, oh God. And the music was intense too, but that was the big jump scare. And yes, it did get me.
I think overall the acting in this movie was really good.
Yeah.
There are scenes where it's not good.
No.
I think on all actors' parts, there are scenes where it's like, that was rough. And
Yeah.
like, I don't know if that's just because you guys did this 20 times and
That's fair. That's very fair.
you were tired.
They
But
did a lot, but yeah, there are some scenes that the acting is a bit rough.
and I think
Noticeably rough. Noticeably rough.
and I think it plays into what we were talking about before of like, there's a lot of stuff at the beginning of the film that just feels kind of cheesy and weird, and not so much later on.
No, the last hour of the movie is damn near perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, it's the first half of it that's like, what?
Yeah. Actually, if I had the last hour and a half, if they were able to quickly get the first bit of the movie into 10 minutes and then just give me the last hour and a half,
Mm-hmm.
I think this would be A+ movie. Period.
Mm.
It'd be excellent. It'd be intense, scary. It would be building that tension, all of that stuff. But there's so much narrative building, which, judging by how many pages a lot of Stephen King novels are, that's kind of maybe part of the product.
That's the whole thing. Okay, a scene that just was so weird, and I know that the reason why they put it in there was to be weird and unsettling. But even then, did we need the weird furry thing?
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I hate that scene. And I hate that scene because when I first watched this movie, nothing bothered me about this movie. I was not scared by this movie at all.
Mm-hmm.
But several nights in a span of a month or two, I would have nightmares about that goddamn scene. I don't know why that particular moment freaked me out. And even now, when I saw it and I was ready for it, I'm like, it's just a scene, don't worry. There's something so unsettling about it, because maybe it's simply because I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
We have no reference to anyone in a dog suit at all.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Assless dog suit. Because that person's bum was showing.
Mm-hmm.
Providing fellatio to this person who... Why do all the dressed up gents just look like Grady?
Yeah,
they're all bald,
it's all
white
a bunch
dudes.
of white guys in suits.
But they're all bald too. So I was just like, when I saw it again this time, I was like, wait, that's not Grady, but it looks kind of like Grady. And then the guy that has the split head also he's shorter, but I'm like, if I wasn't paying attention, that could have been Grady too. Who are these people?
Yeah.
But yeah, that scene bothers the hell out of me. And I, for the life of me, don't fully understand why.
That's part of the reason why it's in there, is because they're like, unsettling thing. Here's a room with skeletons, and then here's this crazy thing that you're going to be like, what did I just see?
Right.
I'm so uncomfortable.
That scene friggin' bothers me so much.
But it's just so out of left field.
And maybe that's why it's effective.
And
because again,
not denying that it's effective.
No other scene bothered me in the same way that freaking scene did.
It's just like, I feel like we could have had the same feeling without that. Like, I mean,
it was still like. I guess why I dislike it is because if you break down what's occurring in the scene,
mm-hmm.
it's not an aspect of what we have seen in
with
the
anything else.
hotel.
There's no
Because
connection to anything else.
The hotel is trying to drive her into madness as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they start by one, she believes that a woman attacked Danny.
Mm-hmm.
Jack sees this woman, understands that it is a supernatural woman, and then lies about it. So she's just kind of in this, she's ruminating on, but he said it, and now Jack says that he heard himself, but I don't think so. And now Jack yelled at me, telling me I'm breaking his word, or what's happening? And then, she gets attacked by Jack. We have the most famous scene of all where he cracks through the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's trying to get to Danny and is stopped first. I believe the timeline is that was the first thing she saw.
It's the first thing she sees.
And it's just this weird thing going on. And she screams because, understandably, I don't think she screams because it's weird. I think she screams because she's supposed to be arguably alone.
Mm-hmm.
And then she sees two people, one in a weird dog suit, doing God knows what in a room with the door open.
Mm-hmm.
So she's immediately like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Then she sees a guy who's had his skull cracked. And then she sees the elevator of blood.
Mm-hmm.
And then she sees, I'm just going to keep calling him Scatman Crothers, dead on the ground.
Right. And at some point in there, she sees the room full of skeletons and spiderwebs.
Which room was that? Was that that was the room she was like, oh, this is a really beautiful room. This is the most beautiful room I've ever seen. I think
That would have been the ballroom, right?
No, I don't think it was the ballroom. It was it was the room with all the Native American art and stuff in the windows.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't understand what that scene had to do with anything. The skeletons makes more sense than that. You're right. That did happen. Okay. Before we move to the next section, everything we're doing, if I may, what do you think happened? Because yes, Grady killed his family, but there is clearly the souls or something, the spirits of whatever, just stuck in this hotel from a particular time.
Grady even says several of us don't believe you can do it, or whatever it is that he says. But he comments about there's many of us here. So yeah, something happened. There's definitely a connection to that 1920s.
Is the lady in the tub Grady's wife?
Couldn't tell you.
I know. I was just, because we see the girls, we see the daughters, we see how they were slain. And I think the body, the body of the woman that is deteriorating and is swollen up from the water, I think that may have been like his wife, because it does seem like their ghosts or whatever are trying to entice them in, whatever it might be. You know, she's like, or the girls are like, come play with us, Danny.
Mm-hmm.
Forever and ever. Creepy. Because it's just weird. It's just weird, the idea of they would show that, and then the wife is never mentioned.
Yeah, I mean the thing that was weird to me is that they never commented on her dying in the tub or anything.
Ullman said that he slashed all of them.
Yeah, that he murdered them all with an axe and stacked them up in a room or whatever.
Was it 237? Do you remember if that was?
They never said specifically that 237 was that. That was just the room.
The Shining. That was
like, yeah. Don't. Are you afraid of 237? He's like, don't go in there. There's nothing in there.
Yeah.
Just stay away. So like, there's definitely more going on. Hard to tell if that was specifically that. Yeah, a lot of strange imagery in this one,
but in the best way possible, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and also it's proof that the moon landing was faked, right? Isn't that part of the theory? Because Stanley Kubrick is involved in directing the moon landing, and Danny's wearing a shirt that says Apollo 11. It's all part of the theory.
I hate the internet. All right. Do you have a scene you like? I think we kind of talked about it. I don't know. Here's Johnny's good.
Yeah, it's iconic. My physics teacher had that on the back of his classroom door.
But that's only because he really liked Johnny Carson. Jack Nicholson, great job.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. Danny, good job. Poor Shelley Duvall, excellent job, but clearly was thoroughly abused in this process, and not great.
Mm-hmm.
Stanley, God rest your soul, but could have done it a different way, buddy. All right, now it's time for the review rewind. We take a look at a positive review and a negative review, and we see where we fall. Metacritic, 68%. Rotten Tomatoes, 83%. Rotten Tomato audience, 93%. And IMDb, 8.4. So we got us a hundy from the Chicago Times, and it did not. I put that there because I wanted to make sure we knew, but it is in fact Roger Ebert. So take it away, Tristan Burt.
But 2 thumbs up. But there is no way within the film. This is starting mid-sentence. This is very confusing.
It's 40 some odd years old. I don't know what to tell you, man.
We're picking up mid-sentence.
The internet can only do so much.
But there is no way within the film to be sure with any confidence exactly what happens, or precisely how, or really why Kubrick delivers this uncertainty in a film where the actors themselves vibrate with unease.
You read that sentence skipping through the period. Or really why Kubrick delivers this uncertainty.
No. We don't understand why Kubrick delivers this uncertainty.
When you read that, I was like, that is a completely different sentence.
To be sure with confidence exactly what happens, precisely how, or really why. Period. Kubrick delivers this uncertainty in a film where the actors themselves vibrate with unease. You're right. It's a very different sentence
Yeah.
when I read it properly.
You went a little New York there instead of Chicago, but 2 points anyway.
Pizza's a pizza.
Yeah. I don't know what Washington, D.C. accent would be, but this is from the Washington Post. They gave it a 30. Stanley Kubrick's production of The Shining, a ponderous, lackluster distillation of Stephen King's best-selling novel, looms as the big letdown of the new film season. What a dick. I can't recall a more elaborately ineffective scare movie. You might say The Shining, opening today at theaters, has no peers. Few directors achieve the treacherous luxury of spending 5 years and $12 to $15 million on such a peerlessly wrong-headed finished product. Look.
Wow.
This movie has issues.
Somebody don't like it.
But I don't know what this person was looking for when they watched this movie. They went into this expecting something that did not come out. Like
this person is
like this.
It's not like the book.
Maybe that, or maybe it feels as though they were walking in going, this is going to be like a really intelligent Friday the 13th. I'm ready for some jump scares. And then when you went 2 hours and 15 minutes with no jump scares, you're like, this movie's not scary. Without really examining the film going, this movie's terrifying. It's just terrifying in a very uncommon way.
Yeah, it's a psychological.
Yeah, it's a work of making the audience feel as bad as the character feels, which is really not an experience I want to have most of the time, but I get why he's doing it, and he did a pretty dang good job.
Right.
Also, watching this movie with headphones, a little more intense than if you didn't. Because
I watched part of it without headphones, and then I put headphones on later, and I was like, oh, this is a different experience.
The encapsulation of sound that the headphones provide, where you hear nothing but the strings or whatever the sounds are in the music, it makes your heart race a little more. Like it really accomplishes what the goal is. One thing I didn't like, sound mixing kind of sucked. Wasn't the best, because you would have this music that is just like strings being held, and it was really, really loud. And then it would cut to, how you doing? Everything okay? Yeah.
You know what
wow,
was
it's quiet.
A really, you talking about the sound mixing made me think of this. A scene that was really interesting with the way the sound was happening was when Danny's riding his bike.
Yes!
And it goes from carpet to hardwood to carpet to hardwood. Like that change.
That is a masterclass in sound design, though.
It's so good.
That is, I don't think that's necessarily sound mixing as much as sound design. Capturing the sound that is happening in the room. Because I don't think it's Foley work. I think that's live
because
sound.
You can hear his pedaling. You hear the squeaks of the pedals going.
That is a masterclass in grabbing the environmental sound. Like it is. When I saw that, I rewound it. I went back. I went back a few times and just was like listening to it.
Did you rewind it to review it?
And I was listening to it, and I was watching closely everything that was happening in the scene and going, is that real? Like, is that what the crap? I don't think that's Foley. I think that's actually what is happening. I was so confused by it, but because I was so intrigued to see how it was done. There's no behind the scenes on that, but I think it's fair to say it's not Foley, it's live, it's environmental sound.
Mhm.
But how they captured it and how they filmed it was
that's probably
perfect.
Going back to the question of favorite scene. That one, because it's just a single shot and they do a full
and
loop.
it's a loop, and it's
It's so good.
mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It really does bring it back to the idea of, yes, these people are professional. These people are really good at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
This deserves the credit it deserves in a lot of aspects, because to film that today, I think we could do it. Well, rather, we absolutely could do it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about that time and technology and whatever they were doing in that time that makes that such a good, like, it's a perfect scene.
Mm.
Because there's tension building, but there's no music, and the tension is built simply by the sound of his bike on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous. That's one of those scenes where it's like, this is a long scene, like, but I wouldn't cut a single thing from it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
great. Yeah.
Anyway, what do you give it?
This isn't normally the style of movie that I would go for.
Yeah.
But from appreciation of the film making of it, I think, like you said, the last portion of it is like a really solid movie. I think the beginning of it brings it down. I'm leaning towards a B minus.
Yeah, I was gonna say a B. Not to, disrespect the work and the classicness of it all. I do think it has problems.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair to say, but I actually still think it is a good movie. And if you were in a position where you can handle this kind of psychological experience, I think it's worth watching. Like, I think it is. If you like cinema, if you were a fan of cinema, if you were a fan of the production of movies, this really, it has aspects of a masterclass.
Mm-hmm.
If you are looking for aspects of really good acting and scene development, like we said, that last hour and a half is some of the best. Some of the best. There is just arguably too much fluff. A little bit of, what's the word we always say when people are describing the plot?
Exposition.
There's a lot of exposition in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. And it could do without it. Honestly, I think it could do without it. I think there's a perfect movie somewhere in this.
Mm. I
just think it gets dragged down by whatever it might be, whether it's the necessity or belief that the narrative, the exposition has to be fully delved into prior to the movie actually starting.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, I think that lowers it, but not by a whole lot. So I would say like a B, a solid B. It's really good.
Yeah.
Just has a lot of fluff.
In some ways, and this might be very offensive to people, I feel like you could remove The Shining from The Shining and still have a good movie.
Yeah, honestly, I almost want to like do the audiobook or read the book and see where the differences lie.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for this movie, you're right. You could probably take out the whole premise of The Shining.
Yeah, I mean, he could still have
because
nightmares.
the haunted aspect is still there. Him having the vision prior to them getting there could have skipped. You could have had him have that within the first month. And the catatonic state could have been something that happened in the hotel. And, you know, they could have done a lot. But I feel like there was that trying to connect the dots between Jack harming Danny. You could have had that happen at the hotel. He could have had an accident. He could have pulled him, hurt him a little bit, and it would have been an accident. And, you know, when he was talking to the bartender, he was like, that was 3 months ago. And she hasn't let me live it down a single day. Kind of the same basic premise of the character development. Yeah.
Oh, something I just thought of that was weird. And then we can we can wrap up. He when he makes his comment about dislocating Danny's arm, that was 3 years ago.
The timeline is totally jacked.
He's only not been drinking for 5 months.
Yeah.
So that means that was not the changing point. Him hurting Danny was not the point where he's like, oh, I'm never going to do it again. Even though that's what they expressed it as, like they told the story as in he did this and then he was regretful, so he stopped doing it. No, he stopped 5 months prior, which is 2.5 years after.
Well, furthermore, we start with the understanding that Wendy is saying he stopped drinking 5 months ago, and by her telling the story made it seem as though this accident happened 5 months ago. And then Jack reveals, no, it in fact happened 3 years ago when Danny was a toddler. And so Danny, as a toddler, messed up whatever, and he drunkenly got angry at him, making him seem even more of a piece of crap. But you're right. That means that there was a 1.5 years or 2.5 years where he just kind of kept going, and then she's covering for that too.
Wendy's story doesn't line up.
Right, not at all. Which I think that's the point, because she's talking to this doctor. So, which made it interesting too that like Jack comes from the perspective of like, she hasn't let me down, or, you know, it sounds like he's saying she nags at him a lot about it, but she like covered for him to a doctor, which makes me think that maybe she doesn't bring it up.
Yeah.
Maybe she keeps it quiet. And it wasn't until he got hurt again that she was like, you did this.
Because you're literally the only other person who could have done this.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't know.
Plot thickens, I say.
Well, the music thickens. Thank you for listening. I don't know. It was a pretty good movie. You should go watch it if you're okay doing this mental gymnastics of this movie. Otherwise, don't watch it. If you're not in a state to, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
All right. I'm Mike.
I'm Tristan.
And listeners, remember to review those rewinds. And we'll see you next time. Shinning. It's the shinning.